Hello Scorpio, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Scorpio, let's jump on in. We're going to start with overall energy through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into it with tarot as we progress. But I first want to get an idea of what you guys have been dealing with. Recent past for Scorpio. Ooh, okay. Self-sabotage with past life connections, and then you have new door. I feel like there has been some sort of cycle that has been repeating, and I definitely don't think it's been intentional, but I think this could be specifically around like dynamics in relationships. So it could be friends, it could be romantic relationships, it could be with family members. I don't necessarily know, but I feel like there are certain people in your life that have really been holding you back from fully stepping into your potential. Maybe it's people that bring you down, that add more negativity and stress and chaos in your life than they do, positivity and peace. Whatever this is, I feel like this is really a period of releasing what isn't serving you and letting go of maybe not even specifically people for some of you, but also dynamics, like certain behaviors in relationships and, accepting less than what you deserve and things of that nature. Because I feel like Spirit's trying to open a new door for you in your relationships, in your life in general. And I feel like it's not just opening door to new relationships, but it also feels like opening a door to a brand new energy in general. So just aligning more with what you deserve, receiving things that align with your worth. Finally, is what I heard when I said that. But I do feel like you've been dealing with certain things that have been holding you back. And I feel like it's really specifically about people. I don't necessarily know. And maybe you're aware of this already. Current energy for Scorpio. And maybe this has been an energy of releasing certain people that aren't serving you from your life. But let's see, current energy for Scorpio. I love this deck, but it's so big. Creative projects. So it's almost like there's been a lot of drama and negativity in your life that has been distracting you from a bigger purpose here. Parting ways, the journey, time to lighten up with new door again. So it feels like there's something that your heart is really set on when it comes to, like, this is outside of relationships, like outside of love. This is a very purpose-driven path, a very purpose-driven journey, but it feels like there has been a lot of, like, again, the word drama keeps coming through, that it's like you've been so caught up in drama and in, just conflict, maybe even in relationships or with a certain people or group of people, I don't know. And it's almost like stepping away and creating distance from a lot of that and really focusing on very soul-driven things right now, because I feel like that's what's going to take you to bigger and better things. When we spend so much of our time and energy in things that drain us or that make us feel bad about ourselves, or again, like maybe there are certain people around you that are planting seeds of doubt in your mind, like, oh, you couldn't do that, or, that's crazy for you to go after your dreams, or like whatever the case is. And I feel like kind of separating yourself from that outside noise and really focusing on heart-centered things right now is where Spirit's asking you to direct your your energy, specifically around creating more abundance in your life, and abundance in all form, not even just money, but like money and love and peace. I feel like there's certain things that are keeping you in chaos, and to find what really aligns with you, I feel like there's a need to kind of step away from that chaos. Again, focus on more like heart-centered, soul-driven things, because with this time to lighten up, like what I see is Spirit's asking you to release what's heavy, to focus on what feels good and what feels aligned and, again, like heart-centered, and to kind of separate and distance yourself from what is heavy and draining and just emotionally taxing right now. All right, it doesn't mean like you disconnect from it altogether, but just I feel like some separation would be really good right now. And then kind of bringing you back to yourself, specifically if there is like a creative project that you have in mind, like writing or art or just creating something, bringing something to the world that I feel like is very purpose-driven. What does Scorpio need to know moving forward? Especially if like a lot of drama and negativity has had you very disconnected from, it's like it's hard to connect with love when you're in so much chaos. It's hard to connect with, you know, that creative part of you when you're just dealing with so much negativity. So I feel like specifically like this is the right path, but this path requires you to kind of distance yourself from some other stuff. You have natural born leader, perception, and core values. I feel like right now is really a time because, okay, I feel like, and this is interesting because I don't necessarily know if this is very like you, but it feels like this is stepping out of worrying about how you're being perceived. And I'm not saying that maybe I don't necessarily feel like that's the core focus for you, but I do feel that like maybe you've been working a lot on like your image or on making sure that other people like you or approve of you or, you know, love you or value you or whatever the case is. And I feel like stepping away from trying to be what other people need right now or what you think other people need and really focusing on what you need right now. You know, you have this natural born leader card, which I feel like you are naturally like a very what's the word I'm looking for? Your presence has a very large impact on people around you. But when your energy is being drained, it's almost like that impact that you're here to make is not as strong or as like powerful. Not that you're not as powerful, but that impact isn't as powerful when you're so worried about making everybody happy almost. So I almost feel like that's what like this period of your life is about, and it is to really focus on what makes you happy. And I'm not saying screw your responsibilities, screw all your relationships, right? Like those things still matter, obviously. It just feels like putting a little bit more priority into like your goals, your dreams, the things that make you happy, the things that, you know, light your spirit up, especially if you have been being really drained for a while by things that aren't serving you as much. So I don't necessarily know what this is about, but I do definitely feel that it feels like a shift in where you're putting your energy is what it feels like. And like being very intentional with your energy too. I think that that's really important. You know, your energy is sacred and it deserves to be protected like any other resource, right? Like if you're careful about where you spend your money, like you're careful about where you spend your time, like be careful about what you pour into and make sure that, you know, what you're pouring into is reciprocating or, you know, heart-centered, soul-aligned situations, people, things of that nature. Okay, overall, one of the best things that I did, I used to be involved in so much drama, like relationship drama, friendships drama. And the best thing I ever did was just like I don't have any drama in my life. And it's so peaceful because the relationships that I have, you know, they are aligned and things of that nature. I can tell you that life is very freeing without the negativity and the chaos. But sometimes we get very used to that, so we kind of thrive in that a little bit. Work through your fears. Interesting. Okay. Sometimes, a time for healing with be bold and make the first move. Interesting. Sometimes we get caught up in chaos because we're so used to chaos. We're so used to survival. We're so used to the drama that peace is almost something that is very uncomfortable to our nervous system. You know, it's almost like silence is hard, or, you know, putting in energy into actually growing and improving our future is hard because our nervous system is so used to being where it's at. So it feels like this is a time to like get very clear on like what you're used to versus what you desire. And to make sure that you're not putting your energy toward things that repeat your past or repeat situations that don't really align or don't really turn out like you would want, and start putting your energy into things that might feel different and uncomfortable, and maybe there's a little bit of fear involved, but that also opens up the opportunity for you to have better, for you to experience more peace. You know, nervous system, when your nervous system is so used to chaos, peace almost feels like a threat because it's like, oh, that's so boring, or I won't be happy there, or whatever. So it's like I stay in the chaos and I'll stay in these relationships and these situations because at least I'm distracted, right? Because we don't want to sit with that fear. So I feel like there's, again, it comes back to what I said, like a need to be very, very intentional with your energy right now. And it almost feels not like a warning in the sense of like, oh, if you don't do this, something bad will happen, but it feels like you have an opportunity here to really step into that new door, right? Like a portal for your life and new opportunities and new experiences. And it's like Spirit saying, if you're not being intentional with where you're putting your energy, you might miss certain things that are available to you right now. It doesn't mean that those things will never come around again. It doesn't mean that you'll miss the opportunity for forever. But I do feel like being very intentional with your energy will help, because we only have so much energy we can spend, right? And if certain new things in our life require our energy, but we're spending all our energy on people or situations that don't serve us, we're not going to have the energy to give to the things that are more aligned. So being intentional with where you're directing your energy. All right. Let's look, Scorpio, what we've got here in this past energy. It's like this past energy is like trying to be everything for everyone else. Draining yourself left and right. And it feels like it's time to be what you need, what your soul is craving, to pour into what your soul is craving. All right, Scorpio's past energy here. Let's break this down further. Yep, Seven of Pentacles in reverse. It feels like your energy's been really scattered. There's a scatter, the Temperance. Here you are. There's a lot of frustration in this energy. Because it's like trying to do too many things, trying to do this, and then I gotta make sure that I'm doing this, and then I gotta do that, and then I gotta make sure. And it's like if your energy is so scattered, and it's like what this feels like is, what you don't realize is you're actually sabotaging yourself in a certain way because you are taking on too many things. And then it's like you take on too many things, and then you can't handle all of these things at once, and then you start to feel like a failure because you're like, well, I should be able to do all of this. No, you are a human being. You only have so much energy you can spend, and eventually you're going to hit this like dead end where you're like, I don't have anything left to give. And I feel like that's kind of the energy of where you were at in your recent past, maybe still kind of in your current energy, is like your energy is so scattered through so many different things, so many different people, so many different situations, and making sure that everybody is happy and everybody is getting a little piece of you, that like at the end of the day, it's like there's nothing left for what you desire, what you want for your heart, for your soul, for the things that truly align with you. And I feel like one of the things that I've really learned is that our goals and the things that align with our soul and our creative projects and our self-care, all of these things have to be intentionally prioritized. Like for me, I have these non-negotiables where I'm like, these are the things that I have to do to take care of myself, to make sure that I am in a good space mentally, emotionally, and physically to be able to give to my life. And if these things aren't taken care of, these things have to wait. And for a long time, it was like, well, these things can't wait, because if I'm not putting energy toward these and I'm not not prioritizing these, everything's going to fall apart. But what we don't realize is when we're not prioritizing ourselves, you eventually are going to fall apart. So you have to make sure that, because you are the foundation, your mental health, your emotional health, making sure that you are spending your time on things that you love and things that you enjoy. Like that's so important, not just for your happiness, but for your purpose too, because you can't give to this world if you are not giving to yourself, if you are not in a good space to do so. And sometimes we think, life can move so fast and things can be so busy and so overwhelming, and it's easy to just be like, oh, just prioritize yourself, right? I get it, and I know it's hard, and I know what it's like to be like, I don't have a single second in the day to do that. You have to find it. Because if you're not finding it, you're not going to have what you need to give to everything else that, like, eventually you're going to get sick, right? Like, if you don't rest, your body's going to force you into rest. If you don't take care of yourself, something's going to happen that's going to, make you have to focus on yourself. So doing those things before things get bad, before the warning signs start flashing, is really important. And I feel, Scorpio, I'm speaking to a lot of you who have just been really burnt out. And I think that you're just burnt out. It's not a burnout where it's like, oh, like a vacation or a few days off can fix this. And the big part of that is because your soul is really drained right now. And again, it's like you're so worried about everybody else, but not about yourself. Like, put you in that list of people too. You are just as important. But there's this fear of like, well, if I prioritize myself, if I don't get it all done, it's not going to get done and everything's going to fall apart. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. All right, current energy for Scorpio. What does Scorpio need to know right now? It almost is like Spirit has a warning for you here. It's like you've got to stop prioritizing. Start prioritizing you. Prioritizing your future, prioritizing the things that you desire. Like, if you don't, eventually you're going to run out. Your cup's going to be empty. Maybe already is. Current energy for Scorpio. There's an attachment here. Devil. Oh, that's the biggest thing holding you back. This devil is the biggest thing holding you back. It could be an attachment to the drama. Attachment to the unhealthy dynamics or the patterns of prioritizing everybody and everything, right? Staying caught up in the drama. Like, this devil is the biggest thing holding you back. Whoa. Because it's keeping you from the action that you would need to take to create the things that you desire. Ace of Wands in reverse. It's like you're disconnected from your heart and from your soul, and these certain situations keep you very disconnected. You're not disconnected all the time. There might be times where you are connected, but this feels like certain things, certain situations, certain people that keep you very disconnected, and what you don't realize is how much certain relationships or dynamics are holding you back. That's why I feel like the devil and the self-sabotage kind of go hand in hand here. Now, there could be other things too, like addiction, right? Like unhealthy habits around taking care of your body, right? Eating fast food all the time and not moving your body, like, and you don't have that energy, right, physically to show up. So I don't know what this is, but there's like certain habits, certain patterns, certain things in your life that are keeping you from being able to prioritize. And it's like, if you started prioritizing your mental health, your physical health, like then I feel like what you'd see is that, first of all, you're going to have more energy to give. And second of all, you're going to align more with things that are going to prioritize you. Because if our outer world is a reflection of our inner world and we're not prioritizing us, the things around us aren't going to prioritize us. So yeah, it's being very intentional with your energy. And going back to what I said, your energy is sacred. It's very, very sacred. And being intentional of where you put your energy. And like, again, like scrolling on social media or watching the news or getting really caught up in the negativity, like all of these things can drain us. I'm not saying you want to be completely disconnected. Obviously, yes, you got to know what's going on. But like, just finding this balance between taking care of the things that need taken care of, but not completely abandoning yourself in the process. What does Scorpio need to know moving forward? And almost like this goes deeper too, because it's not just like one or two things. This is like a dynamic or a habit or a cycle that has stuck with you for a really long time. And I feel like it can be highlighted in a lot of different areas in your life. The Hangman, you gotta let go. Natural born leader with perception. This is letting go of the wheel. That's where you're gonna find success. It's like you're trying to do everything all the time for everyone, right? Your energy is super scattered, and then you're not finding success in any of those things. You're feeling, underappreciated and undervalued and undercompensated. Like, it's like because you're trying to do too much. And it doesn't mean you can't have the things you desire. You can have love and you can have success. But being more intentional with where you're putting your energy can almost like, it gives, first of all, the place you're giving from is different, right? Because you're not given from a place of burnout, you're giving from a place of surplus. And then second of all, it's not so much coming from survival. Because if we're investing in things from fear and from lack and from survival, we often actually attract more of that. But when we invest in what is aligned, what makes us happy, what makes us feel good now, what brings joy and creativity into our life now, like those things often are the portal to the outcomes that we desire. But if we think we have to suffer for the things that we desire, or if we think we need to be miserable, whatever it is, because it's obvious that you're disappointed. You're disappointed with where things are at. And I feel like there is, more in your control than you think, but it's not necessarily about what's happening to you. It's about being very, like I said, picky about where you're directing your energy so that you are putting your energy into things that align with you and serve you and have more potential, because it's and trusting, and I think that's what the Hangman is really saying, trusting that is going to lead you to the outcomes that you desire. Whether this means walking away from a specific relationship or letting go, like I said, of certain habits. It feels like it's like you've been holding on to ideas. Like I get, so Page of Pentacles, it's like you have ideas of what you want to do. Maybe you have, creative projects in mind, or, if I had the time, I would do this, or if I had the money, I would do this. And it's like, now's the time to really prioritize those things. Those ideas aren't coincidences. I feel like they're very divinely inspired, but it feels like you've put a lot of things onto the back burner and you've prioritized whatever this is. It's like not prioritizing this as much so you can prioritize these things more, and that's going to lead you to the things that you desire. More peace, more abundance, more love, right? We're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to dive deeper into this, looking at ultimately what you need to do right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self. So looking at tangible advice, and then I've got an advice card to pull for you from your spiritual team at the very end. Thank you so much, Scorpio, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Okay, bye, Scorpio.